markets now make business and more money.
Now, today's topic is about how to win enemies and influence people. How to win enemies and influence people. Of course, it is a play on the book by, I don't know why I want to say Norman Vincent Peale, but I'm not sure. You know what? If you're not sure, you know what the best thing to do is to Google it. So let me see who wrote uh How to Win Friends and Influence People. Um Dale Carnegie wrote that book. It was a Dale Carnegie book. Okay. But this is a play on how to win friends and influence people, and it's about how to win enemies and influence people. Um, and before I get to that, though, I'm also going to just stick around because I'm also going to give you one of my tips and what I would say to handle those enemies, those trolls, those haters. No matter how much we love to have everyone being our friend, it's just not possible. And if you please everyone, you please no one. It's not particularly a bad thing to have enemies, but if you go around thinking that you won't have enemies, it's like going around saying, looking at your garden outside and seeing that there are weeds and saying there's no weeds, there's no weeds, there's no weeds. Well, if you keep denying that there are weeds out there, the weeds are going to overtake your garden. So don't pretend that there aren't weeds out there. Go out there, clean the weeds out, and then your garden will flourish. But we can't ignore the fact that there are weeds in the garden. And that's the same way when it comes to enemies, haters. And and to be honest, I think that sometimes it's the enemies or the trolls, the haters that cause us to hold ourselves back. We hold ourselves back because we're afraid of the blowback. We're afraid of the comments. We're afraid of the uh, what others might say, and it might even affect our ability or our willingness to put ourselves out there in front of an audience, in front of a group of people, and being our authentic self, because of, we'll call them trolls. We'll call it what it is. They're trolls, but they seem to always have the most negative things to say, nothing positive to say at all. Uh, the Okay, let me mute this. The most negative things to say, not positive at all. So I'm a firm believer in. I think what I talked about in my last Facebook Live audio is that we can make things easier on ourselves, or we can make things harder on ourselves. If and how do we make things easier on ourselves is by understanding that the principles are principles, and people are not broken. People are absolutely not broken, but they are doing exactly what they know to do. So we can choose to either be in denial and work against, or try to swim upstream. We can try to swim upstream and fight the way people are, or we can surrender ourselves to the principles and work with it and understand why they are that way, and then work with them, going with the stream. And I know that uh, Bruce Lee is one of the biggest uh, promoters of be like water, be like water, and flow with the stream. When you try to go against the stream, you're going to be fighting. So that's one thing about having enemies. We would love to have all friends and we would love to be just cheerful all the time. But people even hate that. People will hate you or hate on you because you're happy all the time. Well, look at him. Well, look at her. She's always flaunting around and she's always, well, you know what? I can do that. And I I deserve it because I've worked hard for what I have worked for. And people will criticize you for posting results, um, posting results and things like that. Okay, there are ways that can seem how do I say it? They're just not classy. They're not classy. They're very braggadocious, and so there are ways that you can subtly um, humble brag, but don't let those uh don't let those enemies stop you from actually expressing yourself. That's one thing that causes people to hold back. um what do I want to say? Holding back because of what others might say is going to oh, and I also wanted to say, yeah, so many people will not want to come off as salesy. I hear this a lot. Uh, don't come off as salesy, and I think this stems from people having bad experience with sales. And when someone has a bad experience with a salesperson that makes them feel like a bad salesperson has approached them, then they will have this picture in their mind of that they don't want to sound that way. And what this will do is it will actually prevent you from presenting your offer. Because per, if you think that other people come off as salesy, then not it's going to prevent you from presenting your offer out there because you're thinking that you're coming off salesy. But if you change your thinking and say that, okay, this person, I'm not going to be scared of someone that sells to me because I know that one of two things is going to happen if someone does present their offer to me. I'm either going to learn uh, something to do, what I should be doing, or I'm going to learn what not to do. Don't don't fret when someone sells to you, and don't be afraid of coming off as salesy. It is actually your responsibility to put your offer in front of someone. And if that means repeatedly putting it in front of them, then you should do everything possible to put it in front of them because you know that what you have will change their lives.
Are you enjoying this video? Now's the time to smash that heart button and hit the subscribe. What are you waiting for? You'll be glad you did. Now back to the video.
And when you know that what you have will change their lives, then heck yeah, it's your responsibility to let everyone, as many people as possible, as many people as will hear. You cannot be silent. Just thinking about when you approach someone who has let's say faith-based, and they are all they want to introduce you to their god or their religion. they don't have any they don't have any shame in presenting it to you because they truly believe that it will change your life. And that's the way you should be with your product and your service and your business. You should be unfazed, unfazed, and Don't listen to people when they tell you don't submit your offer, or you don't have to come off as salesy, but you do need to present your offer. You do need to let people know what you're offering. You do need to express yourself. And you can't let people that aren't successful influence you to not put your offer out there or not express yourself. And I just want to talk about it's been said, we're talking about in this audio room, we're talking about how to win enemies and influence people. Um, I'm going back to a one sentence uh, persuasion. One sentence persuasion. It's from a book called The One Sentence Persuasion Course by Blair Warren. This guy's a persuasion expert, and he spent decades studying persuasion. So he breaks down exactly how to persuade people in one simple sentence. Here is that sentence: people will do anything for those who encourage their dreams, justify their failures, allay their fears, confirm their suspicions, and help them throw rocks at their enemies. And of course, you can understand that today's talk is about throwing rocks at their enemies, throwing rocks at their enemies. And uh, so when you break down what he really means about throwing rocks at their enemies, is when it comes to growing your following and growing a group of people that you have an influence over and that will see you as a leader, one key to growing that following is creating a us versus them within the community. It's where you take a stand for what you believe in, why you're different, and who you are fighting against. And then you also want to talk about why what you're doing is better than the alternative, because nothing bonds people as having a common enemy. And this might sound a little ugly to you, but it's true. So it really doesn't matter whether you think it's ugly or not, it's just true. And the ones who understand this utilize this. And though if you don't understand it or you just refuse to address it, then you are missing out on one of the best ways of connecting with your audience and your followers. And no matter what you might think about this, people have enemies. All people. It's been said that every person you meet is engaged in some type of struggle. And the thing that they are struggling with is their enemy, whether it's another person, whether it's another group of people, whether it's an organization, whether it's a setback, uh, whatever. They're engaged in a struggle, and they're looking for others to join them. And those who join them in that struggle become more than friends. They become really great partners in that struggle. So I'll give you an example of an enemy that is used by a lot of people: the government, politicians. uh, Common enemies bond people. When you have a common enemy, you bond with people. So so a common enemy is gurus. If you're in the online info marketing expert space, there are a lot of gurus out there, and a lot of gurus will tell you things. And when you take a stand against those gurus, you bond with people because it's the same thing that most people are thinking. They're already thinking these things, but they're just not saying it. Um, but when you can be the one that actually comes out and says it, then you can win enemies, embrace those trolls, embrace the haters, and you will influence people. They will see you as a leader. So, winning friends is great. Winning enemies pays. Winning friends makes great relationships. Winning enemies, winning enemies will fatten your pocketbook. It fattens your pocketbook. It's ingrained in human nature. People are easily, I won't say easily, but we're more uh, motivated by moving away from things than we are moving towards things. It's the carrot and the stick. The carrot is the reward that things are people are moving towards, and the stick is the negative thing that people are moving away from. The stick will motivate people more than the carrot. And it's a you can ignore this and you don't have to listen to it. Don't pay attention to it at all. But observe, observe behavior of those around you. Observe the behavior of friends, relatives, family, strangers. You'll notice it to be true. And you can fight this principle if you choose. But what I've learned and what I've realized is that when you surrender to the principles, when you surrender to the one principle that rules all principles. And what is the principle that rules all principles? Is that principles work. When you surrender to that, then it takes out so much stress, so much worry, so much uncertainty. It brings a level of calmness and relaxation and just do the principles, follow the steps, and do not be focused on the result because the result will happen. When you throw something up in the air, you don't have to wait for it and say, oh my gosh, I wonder if it's going to come down. I wonder if it's going to come down. Please come down. Don't stay up there that long. No need. You throw it up in the air, and the principle, the law of gravity, is going to bring it back down. You don't have to worry about pushing an object and an object being in motion for it to stop suddenly. It's going to be reacted upon by a equal force. You don't have to sit here and wonder about it. Let the principles surrender to the principles and let the principles work. Let the principles work. You don't have to work. That realization blew my mind, and it has made a huge difference. And I just want to talk about um, a couple other things. I know I got started late, and I'm probably at about the 20-minute mark on this talk. This talk is about how to win enemies and influence people. I just wanted to talk about something else about winning enemies and influencing people. Um, you know, if you are if you are marketing to people, and if your marketing is not hitting, um, you could be making this big mistake, and that is marketing to the wrong people. And it's most businesses do market to the wrong people. And when you when you market to the wrong people and your message fails to make its point, you can blame it on something else, as in it's not pretty enough, it's not big enough, I didn't get the messaging right, it's I put it in the wrong location. um, it's not saying that any of these things aren't wrong, and they could play a role in your success. But the biggest problem is, most cases, it's not directed at any one person. Your messaging is not directed at any one person. Instead, it might be directed at everyone. And it's a lacks a clear understanding of who you are trying to target. And here's the thing, unless you've got deep, deep, deep pockets like the humongous corporations, then you can't market to everyone. I've seen this mistake happen so many times. You'll see an advertisement on television and think that you can replicate this advertisement. But these advertisements are more brand advertising. And these ads, you these ads are communicating for awareness. Awareness is a a top of the funnel. It's a top of the funnel communication. And when you talk about top of the funnel communication, your top of the funnel is awareness. Your top of the funnel is awareness. It's where you're communicating to people just to make them aware of you and who you are and what you do. It may not necessarily be to make a purchase. It's just that type of communication. And it can take multiple exposures to your company just for them to become aware of you and for them to recall your business if it's mentioned again. There's something in advertisement called an ad recall lift. And an ad recall lift, you've been on social media and you've been doing something for a couple of days, and then there'll be a survey that comes and asks you this question: do you recall seeing this ad from the last week? And it'll give you an option of 4 different companies. Do you recall it? And that information, if you answer it, is being used by the platform to determine how well they are delivering and how effective their campaigns are being with just recalling seeing those particular ads. And that's awareness. And once you become aware, then you can begin the different phases of the funnel. Uh, Developing interest, creating desire, and then getting people to take action. But the number one thing is that you need to focus on a specific who, and then you're able to really focus in on exactly what makes that person tick. And you're able to adjust your messaging in a way that perfectly matches their desires and their abilities to fulfill those desires. Knowing that person inside and out will enable you to craft the compelling, most emotional messages that reaches deep, deep into their hopes, dreams, fears, and their pain points. And that is how you win those enemies and influence people. Enemies are a part of it. And if since you've stuck around this long, right around to about the end, which has been about 25 minutes, I'm gonna let you know one of the phrases that I say when I encounter a troll or an enemy. I'll say, um, I will say, oh, I will say, oh, you know, that's awesome. No, here's how I'll say it. Okay, every every good hero has to have a villain, and I'm okay with you playing the villain. You got that? So, so just an example is like, you're funny. They say that every good hero needs a villain, and I'm okay with you being a villain. I'm okay with you playing the villain role, but something similar to that. It really frames it as you being the hero and them being the enemy, but not in a bad way. Um, Batman has his enemies in Gotham City. Superman has his enemies. Every superhero, every hero story has an enemy, a villain, a hater, a troll, and but every superhero needs a villain to be a hero. If it weren't for the villain, then they wouldn't have a chance to be a hero. And that's my story for today. Thanks for tuning in. I appreciate you sticking through with me. I enjoy doing this so much, so much, so much. And let's see here. I'm just going to end this as I always end the talk. And I always end it by saying that, we live in one of the most opportunistic times in our life. And the truth is that I won't say it won't get better because it will continue to get better. And the best time to start is now. The best time to get into this game, get into this world of online marketing was really 10 years ago, 20 years ago. But the second best time is right now. My gosh, my goodness. I look at all the content that I'm creating and this trail, this digital trail of a diary, these breadcrumbs that I will look back one day and say, whoa, look at me back then. This was one of my first videos. And look at what I was talking about back then. Do you see the background, how I talk? I put this together. If you don't start this now, you won't have this in the future. If you don't do it now, because everyone has it, everyone has a backstory, everyone has steps they took to be or become who they are. You don't one day wake up and the switch flips and you are in this great position. It doesn't happen for anyone. It doesn't happen for anything. I encourage you to stay encouraged and always continue to upgrade your level, upgrade your skills, go out there and we look at education as the the marker for us knowing how to do things, but education and learning is not the marker. It is not the marker. I listen to these these big professors of marketing, but they're not applying crap. The true lesson in the learning is in applying it. When you're out here saying, I'm going to apply this strategy, this technique, this principle, I'm going to apply this in this situation, then that's when the learning occurs. That's when the learning occurs. The learning occurs when you're applying it. And then you're applying it in more situations. The more situations you apply it in, the more data, the more information that really, the more experience you gain, then you're able to actually make a statement that is not based on theory, not based on what someone else said, but it's based on your experience, which is the best way to learn. Get out there and do it. And I say this because if you are not taking advantage of the huge opportunity that we have in this online space to design a life the way that you want it to be, the way you want to spend time with your family all day. You want to see your kids grow up. You want to be able to drop your kids off at school and then pick them up from school and then bring them home with you and study with them. You want to see them grow. You want to see them become adults. You want to direct them. You want to have this life and still be able to make a living. Get online, family. get online, establish you an online presence, build you an online business. Your uh, your boundaries just break down. And I want to mention to you that I do a challenge every month, the Make More Money Marketing Challenge, and that's exactly what I go through. uh, 5 days inside the group. We teach you how to search for the right market, how to create a product from the resources that you already have, how to turn that offer, how to turn that into an offer, and then how to go out, put that market in, put that offer in the marketplace, and make money from it, enough to support yourself and live the life of your dreams. Design your life. Design your life. And, I think that some people will say that's easy for you to do, Mark. That's easy for you because you are this, because you don't have this responsibility. I do have those responsibilities, and I am afraid. I do have bills to pay. I do have responsibilities that I need uh, to take care of. I have bills. I have family. I have uh, responsibilities that count on me. But I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid to step outside of the comfort zone that is the uncomfortable comfort zone, the one that has been thrust upon me by others around me that are using me for leverage. No, I refuse to do it. And that's what it comes down to. And until you make that decision, it's going to be like what took me 20 years to actually finish a power goal setting workshop that I said I wanted to do. It wasn't that it took long to do the goal setting workshop. It took me long to finally come to the point and say I'm going to make this a priority and I'm going to do it. And now, just from that one decision, it's propelled me to really start making more of those decisions and not waiting, and not getting to the point where I will say to myself, what took me so long? What took me so long? But I've gone way over. Thanks for sticking in with me on this one. I appreciate it. And I will let you know 4M Challenge sign up, thementalmarketer.com/4M Challenge sign up for my 5-day Make More Money Marketing Challenge. I've got tons of surprises in there, interviews with millionaires, free audio series, and just a you won't want to miss it. But make sure to take a look at it. I'll end this now.
If you're just starting out online, you're probably studying a lot. That's great. You're probably geeking out on all the strategies also, right? Well, that's also great. But the hardest part is figuring out how to communicate in a way that makes someone want to buy from you and how you should sell to them, right? Well, that's also what I struggled with for a while until I found the formula. So I created this free 5-day challenge called the Make More Money Marketing Challenge to get you on track with your marketing and, more importantly, the right sales scripts and processes to get it off the ground and getting people to take you up on your products, services, and your opportunities. You want to come? Well, there's small groups on purpose so I can answer your direct questions for 5 straight days. You can hold your spot by going to www.thementalmarketer.com/4M Challenge sign up. Again, that's thementalmarketer.com/4M Challenge sign up. Check the site for dates and times. I'll see you on the inside.